Witam serdecznie w Family moich drogich patronów. Mam nadzieję, że mieliście fantastyczny dzień i że 2023 rok będzie waszym najlepszym. Z tej strony CryptoLolek alias Lolek XRP. Dzisiaj macie 13-minutowy skrót 4-godzinnego materiału, który znajdziecie na Patronie. Mam nadzieję, że wam się spodoba. Sława, hej, cześć. Link do patrona oczywiście w opisie. Podstawą porządku światowego jest zawsze system finansowy. Byłam bardzo uprzywilejowana, bo mój ojciec był doradcą Nixona, gdy w 1971 odeszliśmy od standardu złota. I tak zostałam wychowana z pewnego rodzaju wewnętrznym spojrzeniem na to, jak bardzo jest to ważne. Ważna jest struktura finansowa dla absolutnie wszystkiego innego. I to, co widzimy w dzisiejszym świecie, to jak sądzę, jesteśmy na skraju dramatycznej zmiany, gdzie mamy zamiar i powiem to odważnie. Mamy zamiar porzucić tradycyjny system pieniędzy i wprowadzić absolutnie nowy. A ten nowa księgowość będzie nazywana blockchainem. To oznacza, że będzie cyfrowy. To oznacza, że posiada niemal doskonały zapis każdej pojedynczej transakcji, która ma miejsce w gospodarce, co da nam znacznie większą jasność co do tego, co się dzieje. Wiąże się to również z ogromnym zagrożeniem w zakresie równowagi sił pomiędzy państwami a obywatelami. Moim zdaniem będziemy potrzebowali cyfrowej konstytucji praw człowieka, jeśli mamy mieć cyfrowy pieniądz. On tutaj powiedział. I jest to związane z nie dość, że z FTX-em, SBF-em i tak dalej, to z tym, co właśnie chcą nam wprowadzić.
So the head of the company was all over the media, and in a number of interviews, he was wearing shorts and playing video game. Why did nobody notice? And where were the regulators? Where was Gary Gensler? Well, they were apparently giving this guy a pass because they knew him or they agreed with his politics.
Albo dlatego, że wpłacał miliardy na kampanię demokratów. Wręcz przeciwnie, zostanie wyróżniony i zostanie taką osobą, której trzeba pomóc, bo znalazł się w złym miejscu, w złym czasie, a przecież to jest dobry człowiek, który chciał zmienić świat.
Thousands of people defrauded out of their life savings. Instead, they're using the collapse of FTX to their own advantage to push for something called central bank digital currency, CBDC.
CBDC. Chcą wprowadzić dzięki temu właśnie CBDC i uważam również, że to jest właśnie ten jeden z tych punktów. Nowy Jork Fed przyspiesza testy CBDC dla płatności transgranicznych.
Government controlling how you spend your money might sound a little bit far-fetched, and you might be thinking that this kind of authoritarian control over your money is not going to be anything that we'll see in the future. Unfortunately, this is already implemented in the world. In China, the government is already able to program what its citizens can and cannot spend their money on. Over the last few years, they've limited millions of people's ability to buy things like train tickets, passports, and luxury goods. They're able to do this because of China's intense social credit system that links each person's identity and actions to their bank account, allowing the government to see and to control everything a citizen does with their money. And it seems like the West is paying attention. In nations like Sweden, South Africa, and Canada, trials of programmable central bank currencies are already underway. In fact, almost half of the world's nations are at some stage of implementing this kind of programmable money, meaning no matter where in the world you live, this technology is likely only a few years away. Okay, so how does programmable money tie in with the personal carbon limit? Well, it all comes down to whether or not you've gone over your monthly usage. And if you have, there are two possible case scenarios for that. The most openly talked about penalty for a person going over their individual carbon limit is that they'd simply get charged for doing so, just the same as what happens to large companies today. Taken too many car trips this month or bought a little bit too much meat? In that case, you'd simply get a bill at the end of each month from your government so you can pay the price of being a naughty citizen. As your entire carbon usage would be tracked by a government CBDC, there would be no way to hide how much carbon you've used. And since they now also hold the keys to your money, they won't even need to send you a bill for your excess usage. Potentially, they'll just automatically pull your fine from your bank account. But there is a second, and in my opinion, a scary thing that could happen if you do go over your monthly limit. And ultimately, this could give your government more ways of controlling your life. And in order to do so, we just have to look at what's happening in China. As we already know, the Chinese government can already take away people's people's ability to buy certain items through a social credit system linked to their bank account, which is exactly what your government could do as well when a programmable CBDC inevitably comes into play in the West. And it's very possible they could use a CBDC to program your spending if you step outside the limits of your monthly carbon allowance. For example, have you refilled your card too many times already this month? You could find that next time your card simply doesn't work at the pump. Or did you recently fly to the other side of the world to visit your family? Well, until your monthly limit resets, it's possible that you may not be able to buy so-called high carbon food items like coffee, meat, chocolate, or potatoes. Again, this scenario is just theoretical at this point. However, with the power of CBDCs, it would be very easy for governments to control your money in this way and to literally be able to cut you off from buying certain things you want to buy because you've exceeded your monthly carbon limit.
I ja wiem, że to nie pierwszy raz was straszę. ECB, przepraszam, Christine Lagarde.
Where do we stand? We central bankers. We have been operating as a monetary anchor in relation to the commercial banks and the private money. If we are not in that game, if we are not involved in experimenting, in innovating in terms of digital central bank money, we risk losing the role of anchor.
I o to tutaj im chodzi, tak? Oni chcą zostać dalej przy korycie, chcą nadal nami dyrygować, chcą wprowadzać politykę monetarną, no i wiele innych rzeczy, których się spodziewamy, tak?
That we have played for many decades. And we have historical examples of period where the central bank monetary anchor was not there, and that precipitated crisis after crisis. That certainly was the case at the time of the free banking in the 19th century. Do we want to go back to those days? Probably not. I would say certainly not from our vantage point.
No, na pewno oni nie chcą, żebyśmy do tego doszli.
As a result of which we have to respond to the demand.
Moskwą jest na przykład to. CBDC dla użytkowników detalicznych. Europejski Bank Centralny rozważa ograniczenie sposobu wydawania pieniędzy przez ludzi. I dotyczy to oczywiście poprzez programowalny pieniądz, obawy dotyczące płatności i limity wydatków przed śledzeniem danych. No i proszę zobaczyć, to jest z oficjalnego pisma, chyba wam zaraz pokażę nawet to pismo. Gdzieś miałem je, za chwilę. Dobra, proszę zobaczyć, w ciągu dnia 50 euro, przepraszam, na transakcję, czyli limity na jedną transakcję 50 euro, na całkowity maksymalny miesięczny wydatki to jest 1000 euro. Liczba transakcji na miesiąc maksymalnie 50 oraz to, co możemy posiadać na kontach cyfrowego euro, to jest maksymalnie 3000 euro. Panie i panowie, trochę mało, nie wydaje wam się? Dodatkowo, jeśli chodzi o zastosowanie, no i właśnie prywatność, o której przed chwilą wspomniałem, tak? CBDC będzie mogło być zaprogramowane w ten sposób, aby można było kupić tylko to, co sobie rządy zażyczą. CBDC mogłyby być tak zaprojektowane, aby w pewnym momencie wygasać ich ważność, więc po prostu je stracimy, jeżeli ich nie wydamy na konkretne cele. No i coś takiego jak pełna anonimowość absolutnie tutaj nie występuje. No i powiedziała to oczywiście Christine Lagarde.
Switch just got flipped. Breaking news. Russia, hours ago, Putin announced that he is asking for international settlements based on blockchain and digital currencies. Now remember, in July, Putin signed something into law banning digital asset payments in Russia. But now check out how quickly the narrative is changing. So this was July 2022. Vladimir Putin signs law banning digital assets in Russia. September 25th, 2022, Russia starts developing mechanisms for international crypto payments. October 29th, new mining bill permitted cross-border payments filed in Russia Parliament. And 7 hours ago, Putin calls for international settlements based on blockchain and digital currencies. I've been teaching the game for a couple years now. As you look this way at the FTX collapse, there's a whole nother narrative going on this way. If you know the game, you can't be played. As people fight an invisible enemy that doesn't exist, they fall deeper into the matrix, not understanding that every problem has a reaction, and whoever creates a problem comes up with the solution. Warriors!
What are your lawyers telling you right now? Are they suggesting this is a good idea for you to be speaking?
No, they are very much not. I mean, you know, the classic advice, right, is don't say anything, you know, recede into a hole. And it's not who I am. I mean, it's not who I want to be. I don't have, I think I have a duty to talk to people. I have a duty to explain what happened. And I think I have a duty to do everything I can to try and do what's right. If there is anything I can do to try and help customers out here. And I don't see what good is accomplished by me just sitting locked, in a room pretending the outside world doesn't exist.
Taki krótki shorcik, żebyście zobaczyli, co mniej więcej jest w materiale, a jest tego troszeczkę sporo. NWO, World Economic Forum, CBDC, światowe elity oraz plan stworzenia nowego świata. Sława, cześć, do usłyszenia na Patronie. Link oczywiście w opisie.